Hello everyone, and welcome to another game I played on Ptcgo. This time I'm trying out a Flareon Cofagrigus deck. A deck I played against a few matches ago if you guys watch my channel regularly, but it's a pretty fun deck to play, relatively inexpensive, but fairly difficult to set up in that you don't really set up quickly, and it involves a lot of mental math to try to get just about the right damage. So here I'm starting off with a Ditto, which I include to sort of just turn into a Cofagrigus quickly. So my opponent's going to start off with a Trubbish, so it's probably some sort of Garbodor variant. There's many, so I don't know which one, and they're going first. So the idea with Ditto is to transform into Yamask and then evolve it to Cofagrigus, knock it out using 6 feet under, which allows you to place 3 damage counters any way you like on your opponent's side of the field, and send Cofagrigus to discard pile. This allows you to power up Flareon's Revenge, which does more damage, 10 more damage to be exact, for each Pokemon that's in the discard pile. So my opponent just attaches a Rescue Scarf to Trubbish and ends his turn. I'm going to N. And here I was about to play Eevee down, but instead I decide to evolve Ditto into Eevee, just in case it gets knocked out. I didn't get a Cofagrigus or a Yamask, so I don't see the point in doing that yet. Here I'm going to use Signs of Evolution to bring up Flareon and Leafeon, which I include in this deck for Energy Crush, which is a neat attack as well, and being able to bring up multiple cards and then using Ultra Ball is more effective that way. So I'm just going to end my turn after bringing up a Leafeon and a Flareon. My opponent puts down a Kyurem, so this is not Plasma Kyurem, and he attaches a DCE, so he's going to be able to hit me with Outrage. And this sort of cues me in that I might not want to evolve into Flareon, and I might want to evolve into Leafeon instead, just because he'll be able to hit me for weakness if I go the Flareon route. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to evolve into Leafeon. I'm debating whether or not to use a catcher or anything, but it's not really worth it at this point, so I'm just going to discard my hand, sending some stuff to the discard pile. I get an Electrode to evolve my Voltorb that I started off with. I'm going to play a Audino with Busybody, its ability to just heal 10 damage and send it to the discard. I'm going to attach a DCE onto that Ditto. I guess I'm getting it ready to evolve into a Eevee, or transform it into an Eevee and then evolve it. I'm going to use Magnetic Draw. I managed to get a level ball off of that, so I'm going to use that to get myself the Eevee. Transform my Ditto into Eevee, and then I'm just going to hit Energy Crush for 40 because my opponent has 2 energies on his side of the field. So the more energies he has on his side of the field, the more damage Energy Crush will output. But of course that will allow him to outrage for much more if I continue attacking this way. So my opponent is going to Skyla for a catcher. Not sure what he's going for. He catches up Eevee and he hits it for 60 and the knockout. So that helps me, and it hurts me because he sends more Pokemon to the discard, but it didn't exactly want Eevee to be one of those yet. I was hoping he'd knock out Leafeon instead and allow me to attack with Flareon the next turn. So I'm going to N. I get a Yamask finally, and I'm going to put that down. I have no real choice but to Energy Crush, but this will really allow him to just knock me out since he's 10 short of a knockout. But hopefully I could set up something with Cofagrigus because I have no real response yet. So my opponent puts down a Mewtwo, and he's put down a Zekrom and attaches a DCE to that. Fortunately, he hasn't evolved into Garbodor. That would be problematic because I wouldn't be able to use 6 feet under. He's going to Colress for 5 and hit me for 120 with Outrage and then Knockout. I'm going to promote Yamask since I do have Cofagrigus in hand, but I don't really have anything to attack with, so I am tempted to use 6 feet under here, but that would mean I knock out Cofagrigus and I'd have to promote Electrode, which is not a play I want to make. I don't want to leave just Electrode in the active in case he has some way of knocking me out. So here I'm debating on what to do. I think I'm going to let him just knock out Cofagrigus instead. But I do want to use that catcher to try to prevent that from happening immediately, bring up Mewtwo. And then I'm going to Juniper, sending Flareon into my discard. And I managed to top deck an Eevee, which is going to help me out. I'm going to attach a DCE to that. And here again, I'm debating whether or not to use that Recycle or a Tool Scrapper. He doesn't have a Garbodor out yet, so I don't really want to use that. It's not going to be that helpful, and I'm debating whether or not it's worth it to use Recycle. I think I should, just to get a supporter back that might be able to help me, or a card that might be able to help me. And I think I'm going to get an N back. I expect him to take a knockout, and I want to be able to disrupt his hand, next turn. And here, I'm going to play that Ultra Ball, discard a Colress and a Fire Energy to be able to bring up something from the from my deck. I'm choosing Eevee just to have more in queue, and this will allow me to magnetic draw for 3 cards, and I'll get that supporter I just got back with Recycle, so I didn't really sweat discarding Colress. So it's a very long turn, and I guess I'm still debating whether or not to do 6 feet under. I decide against it, fortunately, but I'm not sure if that was the best play, because if I did damage to Kyurem, it would have been knocked out. So going into my opponent's turn, I'm not sure what he's going to do. He could attach an energy to Mewtwo, which he does. You see a DCE go down and a Reshiram go to the bench. And then a Juniper gets played, sending some fighting energy to the discard. So I'm not sure what the fighting Pokemon he has in his deck, since I haven't seen it yet. But he won't be able to hit me for the knockout because Cofagrigus is weak to Dark. So Mewtwo won't be able to do the job, but Kyurem can, so he can retreat, which he does. And it's cheaper due to the Sky Arrow bridge he had in play. He does get the knockout. So I'm going to promote Eevee. I have that Ultra Ball in hand, so I can send Cofagrigus and something else to discard pile, but instead I decide to N, and I get a Flareon off of that anyway. Fortunately, that could have been a huge misplay there had it gone the other way. I get an Ultra Ball, and I'm going to send Electrode and Yamask into the discard pile. So my deck is getting pretty thin at this point. I'm just going to get myself another Flareon to evolve that Eevee and get it ready to attack. And I think I'll just hit for Vengeance here. I'll get the knockout since there's only 10 damage on his side, and with Vengeance I'll hit for 150. So if he knocks me out here, I can hit for 170, which is a lot of damage, and I don't think he'll be able to recover from that if he can't knock out both of the active Flareons once I get to that point. So I'm going to get my first prize, and that's a Cofagrigus, and he promotes Mewtwo. So he won't be able to get the knockout unless he attaches more energy, or if he has some sort of other cards like a laser. So we see another energy attachment, and he gets a knockout that way. He hits me for 100. I'm going to promote Flareon, and here I'm going to try to recycle a Ultra Ball to send those Cofagrigus that I have in hand into the discard pile. So the top card of my deck is now Ultra Ball, and with Magnetic Draw I can send it to my hand, and I can send those Cofagrigus into the discard, and I'm going to Ultra Ball and fail it. I don't really need either Voltorb or Audino, which is all that's left in my deck. So I'm just going to Vengeance for 190 and the knockout. So this way I did that to ensure I can knock everything out on his side of the field, and I'm going to take 2 prizes. Although if he can knock out Flareon, it puts me in a sticky situation because I don't have any EVs or Flareons remaining in my deck. So he's going to promote Zekrom. He can hit me for 20 in Outrage, but I'll be able to get the knockout on the next turn. So right now it's really a matter of him trying to find some way of stalling or knocking me out. And he gets a catcher and catches up Electrode. Fortunately, I have that fire energy, which will allow me to retreat Electrode, unless he manages to end me, which I'm really hoping he doesn't. I'm looking at the retreat costs, and yep, Electrode's retreat cost is only 1 card. So he's going to put down a Virizion and a Landorus, regular, not the EX version. So he sort of has a hodgepodge of attackers and Garbodor in there for good measure, but I haven't seen it in play this whole game. He's going to attach a Rescue Scarf to Zekrom and use an N, and then just hit me for Outrage for 20. So that N got rid of the energy in my hand, which is problematic for me, but I did get that Audino, so I'm going to use Busybody and heal 10 from my Pokemon, from my Electrode, and then Magnetic Draw for 1. That didn't get me the energy, so I'm just going to play my Tool Scrapper to get my hand down, and then I guess I'm just going to Juniper away my hand. That'll leave 2 cards in my deck, I believe, since my deck is down to 9, and I'm just checking my opponent's. So it's really a dangerous move because I can deck myself this way, but I do it anyway, and I do manage to get that energy card that I needed, and I get my Life Dew finally, which I also run in this deck. It works really well with Cofagrigus. So I'm going to retreat that Electrode after attaching the fire energy to it. I did attach a Life Dew to Flareon, and here I'm going to Super Rod. I don't actually need all the Pokemon in my discard pile anymore since I have more than enough to do all the damage necessary. And I'm going to bring back a Flareon and Eevee just in case I need them. And I'm going to hit that Zekrom for the knockout, and managing to deal 190 damage. So once this deck gets set up, it can deal massive amounts of damage, but the setup can be really hard. This match is not typical in the very least. So my opponent's going to promote Reshiram and then switch into Landorus and then N. So he gets 2 cards and I get 2. That also helps prevent me from decking out, since my deck has 8 cards in it. My opponent's going to Super Rod back a Mewtwo and some energy. Mewtwo is really his best bet, but he doesn't have it in play. I'm going to Vengeance for 190 and then Knockout. And he promotes Virizion, and it's a foregone conclusion at this point that I'm just going to take the Knockout with Vengeance and the win here. So once again, guys, thank you for watching. I'll be posting some opening videos next week.